welcome to Monday Morning Quartersback, the very start of my stream today. This is going to be a look at CPT Online Europe West number 2. We're going to be taking a look specifically at Infectious' gameplay. Infectious ends up being the winner. Sorry for the spoiler. Maybe should have said that one in advance, but he won it. And I'd like to talk about how he played and whether anybody could beat him. I'm very interested to see what David up in the press box has to say. When I watched it, I saw somebody who I felt looked like among the strongest players in the world. I thought that he was very impressive on the ground, as anti-air, in defensive choices, and although he's playing against people who he knows and probably has a game plan against, still, I found it super, super cool. David upstairs also told me that he wants to take a look at Mr. Crimson's Dhalsim. I think, as you may know, Dhalsim is a big favorite for David, and so it's hard for him to avoid just at least watching it, even if not straight up analysis. But he's told us that he wants to take some time to do that. You know, production gave him the okay. So we're going to be looking at Infectious, and then later on at Mr. Crimson. And to do that, let's head over to David with the analysis. All right, thanks a lot, David. Much obliged down there. Don't pretend like you don't like Dhalsim as well, all right, buddy? I know you. I know. It's almost like I'm in your head sometimes. We're going to look at Infectious starting off, though. And this is going to be Infectious, in fact, versus Mopilapo, a strong boxer player from the UK as well. And this was at the beginning of the top 8. What we're looking at here is going to be Zeku versus Boxer. And Infectious's Zeku, I think, is so controlled. I think is a great descriptor for how Infectious plays as Zeku. He takes a character with fantastic walk speed, with fantastic move speed, with a command run in the young version, with a great jump arc in the young version, with a demon flip in the old version, a character who has a lot of different movement tools. And he plays that character so slowly and strongly, and with such maintenance of his position and understanding that he can walk up at any time, which means he doesn't need to constantly be walking up. He doesn't need to be constantly approaching because he can do it kind of when he wants to. He'd be real surgical about that. So that, to me, is something to be looking at here as we watch Infectious versus Mopilapo in semis of top 8 CPT Online West Europe number 2. Let's head in there. Whoop. You had a great look there at the Campanile here on the University of California, Berkeley campus. Oh no, production forgot to change that. Big bummer. Hey, congrats to Damascus and Tyrant for getting such consistent commentary work. They really deserve it. Not just in this game, but also in Dragon Ball FighterZ, a game that they both love a lot. You know, they both have had a lot of experience in both of these games, and I think they're really strong. So I was really happy to see that they did this. Infectious has had lots of different experience across lots of different types of characters. He's somebody who played Zangief extremely, extremely well in earlier seasons of SF5. He's played big bodies in the past, and always had great footsies, just a wall, just an absolute wall of a player. And later in this top 8, we'll watch him play Ken, so you get to take a look at him playing a couple different characters and see the commonalities. And that it's not just that, like, Zeku's really strong in particular, although Zeku is good, but it's that Infectious is playing this character in a way that is very hard to replicate, I feel, for anybody else. And yeah, maybe that is influenced by his history of playing big body characters.
I'm excited to see it. Let's see here. Will it be Infectious with that methodical play style?
So as usual, we're going to watch each round as it goes. And then if there's anything to point out, I'll pause it and take a look back. Another great thing about Infectious is that he just never gives up opportunities. You know, if there's a scramble, if there's a punish, whatever it is, he's always ready for it. He is extremely strong, fundamentally sound when it comes to that, right? Like, he'll never miss the punish. Look at the little walk up and check. Again, this is against a character in Boxer who has good movement speed himself. And if he has charge, has, you know, EX command dash, plus on block, super strong, V skill, EX dash punch is +4. I mean, he could be super plus. But regular V skill dash punch is +1. Or no, is it +2 and EX dash punch without V skills +1, I believe.
Waiting for the right moment to get that dash straight. He got one. Of course, he will need much more.
Yeah, the replay. Do you think it's too quiet? I don't want to have it be loud.
Doesn't really need to take the offense right now. He's just gonna wait for him and look at this. Gets the challenge.
Yep.
Infectious side,
But look how Infectious is playing. Again, he's got this character who has such strong... If he's playing young, right? Oh, command run, one of the best walk speeds in the game, a great jump arc. In old, he has this demon flip mix-up that he could do. He could be zoning actively with Graham. And that's not really the style that he used, is it? He was much more... He's very grounded. He walks up occasionally and he blocks well. And he jumped out of this first mix-up. Now, both UK players, you know, I assume that they've played each other many times. I don't know the specific history, but I assume that there's some existing read here. But when those few defensive situations came up, Infectious was super ready.
Wasted movements happened during this match. Okay, nice.
Nice. Oh, could not get anything more at this range. And look at this. He's just poking him with that crouching medium punch.
Just a wall right there.
Get in, but Mopilapo, lots of patience, waiting for the right moment to get that dash straight. He got one, of course. You
see this guy just crouching, just waiting?
He's out. The low is gonna be blocked, and Infectious doesn't really need to take the offense right now. He's just gonna wait for him and look at the challenge.
Did he get hit and then did something? Was that a hit on dash punch? It was. Wow, that is crazy impressive. To make that defensive choice as well. Every defensive choice was right. Now, he doesn't get it perfect, right? He did get hit here and there, but each important defensive mix-up Infectious was ready for.
That was a bit too ambitious. Infectious gets round 1.
Spoiler, he was charging tap that entire time, by the way. Like, I've played against this guy a number of times. I know exactly what he's doing.
Okay, so Tyrant has played against Mopilapo.
This guy just sort of sitting there doing nothing. He is charging tap, let me tell you. All right.
That's what I want to see.
Look at that. After that whole first round of being a wall, the dash in, of course, is going to work. Who expects it at that stage?
Nice buffer there. Gets the follow-up and the back throw nap time. Dash up crush. This is where Mopilapo is so dangerous, bro.
Yeah, Mopilapo does seem really good.
Now, and Infectious gonna have to take a decision on wake up. Wakes up with the EXDP. That's gonna be good damage as well. With the V-trigger, uses the second bar. Gonna keep the pressure on. No button press on Mopilapo's side. Gets the EX straight and no meaty converted on this. Mopilapo looking good though.
Absolutely.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
That is the most special.
Yeah, he played Zangief in SF5 Season 1. He played Hugo in Street Fighter 4 at the end. Yeah, he's definitely played big bodies in the past.
Infectious was trying to walk out, but Mopilapo was one step ahead of him.
You know, like I've often said,
maybe a bit too obvious. Infectious keeps control.
Big body grappler players are usually the smartest people who play in fighting games. Usually they're the geniuses. And I think this is a perfect example of that. He comes from that mindset.
Yeah, the ground was a bit risky. There's good challenge on the Mopilapo side.
I love the little checks there. The stand short is a great check.
Infectious to the corner now.
Again, though, Mopilapo doing nicely. Not quite a whiff punish, it was counter hit, in fact. Oh, super sick.
Crash counter was not converted.
That's a shame right there.
Yeah, okay, so switching to Young because now he has the extra mobility, the speed of being able to get in, the excellent hit confirm of stand fierce. That's something to pay attention to, right? Wow, walks up so far forward.
One touch, by the way, that'll do it. Yo, he was ready.
That could have just been EX for the kill, actually.
Gets the conversion on this.
Oh wow, did he kill on this? I don't remember. I thought that he lost game one. Oh right, the genius read. That was such a sick defensive read, actually. Such a sick defense. Look at the expression on old Tyrant's face here. Look at this, man. Oh my god. Super good read. And I like that because at the end of a round like that, if, say, Mopilapo had jumped back, Infectious, for sure, is going to be ready for that. Is he young or old right there? He's old, so there's for sure a Dragon Punch. Oh, wait, did he end up as young? He ended up as old. Okay, yeah. So that definitely would have been a Dragon Punch if, in fact, Mopilapo had just done a jump back out of that grab. Dragon Punch or whatever. I mean, there's any number of options that Infectious could have done. So instead, Mopilapo does jump back short. Now, if Infectious had blocked that somehow, I don't know, right? Or if Infectious maybe had been crouching or whatever it is, Mopilapo would have died. But he also would have died if he had just done empty jump back. So bringing out the instant overhead there to get the final hit, super smart. I like that a lot. All right, we move on. Yeah, anyway, this was the only game that Infectious lost in the entire top 8. So we started out like this.
Wow.
And, you know, now I already think he's been doing a lot of good stuff. But he's about to get even tighter.
The bold read right there, the jump back jab. It paid off. You can't argue with it. It worked.
Yeah, I mean, I do the same thing. You know, if it's a round-ending situation, I'll do like a jump back medium kick as Zangief. I'll do a jump back strong or jump back jab, I guess is what it is for Honda. You know, yeah, I'll do jump back medium kick if I'm Dalsum, whatever. Like, it's a good idea.
He's playing right now. He's really like playing methodical well and just tries to surprise Infectious.
Yeah, for sure, there's a lot of buttons coming out of Infectious. And I think that part of this may be, like I said, that there's a read on Mopilapo. I'm sure this is not the first time these players have played. And I expect that Infectious is accustomed to that stuff working right there, crouching fierce into big business.
Okay, great conversion.
You know, because he is whiffing a lot, but you know, if we look back here, the range where he's tending to do stuff, where maybe
remains in control, but it feels like he just needs one momentum shift for Mopilapo to come in.
This is exactly
crouching strong, crouching, you know, the fierce. The range that he's doing stuff there is not within Boxer's poking range. Boxer would have to have a dash punch, and that's possible, certainly. It certainly is, but maybe there's some specific read here or understanding here by Infectious that that's not something that Mopilapo has. And what's interesting too is if you watch how Mopilapo plays, he often does not have charge. He'll often, as he's doing now, walk back and forth. He will sometimes just stand there too. We saw that a few times out of him in the top 8 of just neutral standing without charge at all.
Like he would just stand there, like not even block, you know, just to like sort of bait you in and frustrate you. Okay, here we go, the Rufus crash medium punch.
And if you can have that read on when your opponent's likely holding charge, that's super important. Wow, he did take the risk this time. What a genius.
He's getting a crouching fierce, but no conversion on this. And look at this, Mopilapo now activates. He's gonna get a good position right now. Infectious.
Again, the defensive read is so on point from him.
And like the second time it lands, Mopilapo needs to respect him a bit more. He's in the corner now. What can he do?
It's just a mix-up, you know?
Oh, that's such a heartbreaker. It was too far.
Nice. You could hear Damascus saying, let's go back slightly.
He's in the corner now. The second time it lands, Mopilapo needs to respect him a bit more. He's in the corner now. What can he do? Gets the conversion.
Mopilapo needs to respect it a bit more. It's just a mix-up, of course. You know, so again, I'm sure this is not the first time these players have played, and you can see that Infectious has the defensive reads super on point, even though he lost that first game. In many of these big crunch time moments, Infectious has done DP, he's jumped out, he has hit the button first, and if you're getting defensive choices right as often as he is, it's really, really hard for the other person to beat you in a set. Maybe in an individual game still, because especially a character like Boxer, big damage and stun, you know, he can both do that and also whittle away from normal's range. You could lose a game, but you're not going to lose a set.
Closer, that
Mopilapo can bring the heat back.
Let's see, he definitely can, you know.
Dang, the slight walk forward, what an unusual option. Most people will just press a fast button, or maybe a slower button, maybe there's that mix up, but to walk forward press a button is unusual for sure. But that is how Infectious plays. I mean, he does stuff that is not, he's not a zany player, but he does do stuff that's nevertheless a little bit unusual. Like, he has different takes on the characters that he's played.
And a great patience from Mopilapo side, just gonna wait into the viewer, so that whiffed.
That was pretty wild.
That's crazy.
I just was like, he's not doing any wild stuff. That wasn't, that's not zany, that's just very impressive.
You least expect it. Okay, here we go.
He's trying.
Ready defensively, as always. Super hard to catch him off guard with a dash or with the dash punch V skill or whatever. It feels like Infectious is always ready for that sort of stuff.
Very sneaky of Infectious.
He's very well prepared.
And he's gonna get the rounds.
So one of the things that sort of separates Infectious from a lot of players.
Famously, Infectious, wow, a ridiculous whiff punish. Oh my god.
A lot of players would crumble after that.
And then turning the wall, the slow wall, into an awareness or an expectation on Mopilapo's side that that's what's going to be there always. Turning that into dash grab is such a classic strategy for somebody who's been zoning out.
He will die by his plan.
The fast flip, the fast change from this sort of slow play, like he's doing now. Slow, I mean, he's not winning every interaction, but slow play, distance play, all of a sudden to be in there, just like this.
The reversal is going to be thrown, though. Mopilapo with the anti-air looking good, trying to get the crush counter, but Infectious not pressing any button.
I think that Infectious kind of clocked onto the fact that Mop's using a lot of V reversals as well whenever he's under pressure. Even on like jump-ins when it's not the best.
Yeah,
time
even
to
as
use a
young
V-reversal.
Zeku.
And looks like Infectious, you know, like he's the kind of player that will
Just
he'll put that
comfortable
in his
playing solo,
database,
even though there's
you know,
not
he's gonna
really
have that ready.
a life lead.
Nice break.
You know, not doing anything. Yeah,
Just
waiting there,
again,
ready.
Again, another challenge for Infectious, who will spend the B trigger.
Yeah, he's been opened up by this in the first game, but I feel like she's like, you know what, every time I'm gonna see this skill, I'm gonna press buttons now. Just in case, it's time for Mopilapo to adapt to this.
You know, he
one.
has jumped
Still
back
double,
there and
still
he has
very
pressed
close.
buttons there a couple of times, and that time he
He's
just
gonna
did
wanna
not.
activate. There it is, off
And
the
I don't
B
know what to
skill.
chalk that up to, other than just somebody who's
No big punish there from
got the right
Infectious.
defensive read. I think this is part of the problem, part of the difficulty of analyzing a set like this and a player like this, because
Better.
Trigger is
it's-
here for both players.
it's hard to give you a great reason for why some things work.
End game scenario.
Oh, gonna be
enough.
big. Who's gonna just wait? Mopilapo, you've got 5 seconds to wait on this. Can you? Wait, you can get thrown. Don't press the
wait.
button. Stay there.
Oh yeah, that's
Oh,
right.
that break.
Incredible
My
defense
God,
right
what
there
a
by
clutch. That take
Mopilapo.
was so ambitious because a counter
Incredible
hit would have
defense.
been the end for Mopilapo. Clutches that round. He's so solid.
With
He
3
does
seconds
seem
on the
really
clock,
good.
that
He
could've-
really does.
He'd have to go for a throw. He could have shimmied him.
Yeah,
but Mop
again,
banked on
the
throw,
fierce.
and it was.
This is something that's
Okay,
come
here
up a
we go.
couple of times.
Great
Instantly in the
conversion.
offense, young
Yes, the
Zeku
forward throw.
converts that
This guy
super
is
well.
just so cerebral, man. He just plays the game. He
And
just
so,
plays
think
it
back to when I was
a
talking about
science,
the
you know?
movement speed that
Alright.
Zeku has. We just saw a command run.
Ooh,
That's
epic
maybe the
damage
first or
right there
second
off the
time
side.
we've
Combo
seen that.
forward throw. Look at how quick
In
his round is,
general,
Damascus. Damn.
Infectious has been playing this
Everything, look at
distance
this
game
Mopilapo
and
trying to
occasionally
get
walking
just
up.
wait,
Yeah,
just the
occasionally
counter
jumping
hit,
in
but
with young
conversion
Zeku
is- the Vichigo is
with
still
his
active. He's looking for
kinda
something
unique
else.
jump
Oh,
arc.
that's gonna be punished into the command grab. That's gonna build up on that stun. Mopilapo looking to keep the pressure on.
It's not over yet, though. It's not over yet. Don't count this man out. V-Trigger is locked and loaded for Infectious. Has a ton of bar as well. We'll be able to build up that super
Oh!
on the next hit. And there it is! Just gonna style on him. Spend it.
Yeah,
Why
he
not?
could've-
There you
could've
go.
gotten the super as
Infectious
well.
Takes his second game in this first of 3 set. Damn.
Again, in so many of those situations where it comes down to the important final decision or the sort of big money defensive choice, it feels like Infectious has had the right call almost every time. Almost every time. Really impressive. And again, this is only the first set.
I feel bad. I feel bad.
And I
for
already
Mopilapo
mentioned that
because,
the only game that he
I
loses
think-
in this top 8
I
is
think
that
the
game
thing to
number
do right
1.
now in this matchup is to
He just
like,
goes undefeated
remove
regardless after
from
that.
Your muscles that just gonna go for a classic frame trap in just to check. You know, if he's mashing, if he's just mashing after you press a button, try the frame
Wow.
trap. Maybe you will get that counter hit.
Again,
Try
he's
another
been
approach.
doing a
Right
lot
now,
of
it's a
this
great
just
start by Infectious,
strong
but
wall
second
sort of
for-
behavior.
Oh,
Oh, no.
Reversal. Mopilapo, he does tend to throw those out, sort of, even in situations when it might not be the best. Nice anti-air though. Gets the forward throw as well. Okay.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Oh, crushed
What am I, okay,
up.
first
He's
big
gonna
defensive
punch
choice that Infectious has gotten wrong.
Just need the one throw and get
Yeah,
the pressure.
okay,
Can
alright,
kill
so
with
Mopilapo
this.
is in
Just
there.
go for as much damage as he can.
He can't go.
Yeah, cannot. He's gonna just wait on this. He just needs one convincing touch, and that's the
okay.
one. Watch your toes, as always. Watch your
EX
toes.
low.
Mopilapo
Yeah, it's
is
strong,
ridiculously
for sure.
efficient.
Yeah, he knows
Safe.
exactly when you want to try and make that approach, and he interacts
Wow,
at
that
the
was
right time.
incredible
There
medium.
you go. Stays alive in this. Infectious, though.
Dude, he whiff punished with roundhouse on dash punch?
Like he's
That's
facing
amazing.
to punish dash straights. Okay, there we go. V-Skill 2's out there.
And it is cool to see people using that
Just to be
V-Skill
out of
2
that V-Skill
more
2
often.
range as well. I like the
It's just fun to
sensors on
watch.
Mopilapo's side. He's really trying to punch
Yeah,
man
yeah.
up, but Infectious keeps the right spacing.
All right.
Wow, first slide. I think that's the first slide that we've seen. And then walks up really far. I definitely think you can see the Zangief in there. See how far he walks?
Understanding fears into the conversion.
It's really strong, obviously, right? It's a great forward throw. It does more damage than everybody else's. In the corner, he gets pressure afterward. It's really good. It's really good. And with the walk speed that Zeku
It's
has,
scary.
young Zeku has,
You've always got to be looking for something. From
you can get in there. You can get in there from further away than I think people are expecting. Especially that plus, right? Standing strong, crouching strong, series are annoying to deal with. You have the threat of sweep, you have the threat of short, all sorts of stuff.
That was gassed.
I was so clean, as you'd expect from Infectious. You get away with something a couple of times a game.
Okay,
he's
some
gonna
funky
finish.
mix-ups. I like this.
Nice plus frames.
And then the jab. Oh man, I love seeing people do the 3-frame challenge
The
after
frame
EX
data is
dash.
advisory. You do what you want with the frame data.
Yeah,
It's just
don't-
like-
Don't think plus frames is like your ticket.
It's only plus one. I mean, it's not-
full clock on, no conversion.
It's not gigantic.
Get the follow up. Okay.
Nice one. Gets the conversion.
And again,
Nice.
ridiculous! Oh my
Mopilapo with a
god!
one
Oh
touch,
no,
that's
you
the
let him wake up
buttons.
with a
Once
button.
again, Infectious gets out of a sticky
Oh
situation.
man, for
Into
sure.
the V-trigger too. Infectious is looking a bit better right now. No button
Oh
rest of
god,
it.
you're
take the
just
throw for
frozen
now.
there,
It's
yeah,
gonna
and then
be
finally you think it's
one.
time to attack, and
Button too much,
it was not. It was
Mopilapo now
Infectious
is
who
so
takes it 3-1.
close. But
So
Infectious-
just sort of in recapping, I feel like again, I want to point out I think that Mopilapo seems really good. He's a player whose name I've only heard a couple of times. You know, I'm not somebody who lives in the UK. I don't know the whole scene. Each time I've seen him, I see strength for sure. And in this CPT top 8, I definitely think that you could see that. And yet, Infectious ends up taking it 3-1, and that's his only game that he loses in all of top 8. In that, I feel like you did see some of what I was talking about, even though Mopilapo had a lot to say. You could see how Infectious plays the ground game as his two halves of his character, with walking around in a way that I feel like many people don't. Many people will play, you know, their mid-range as young Zeku is slide, very strong, where it's something you got to pay attention to. Jumping at a range and a timing that's funky because he has got this kind of weird jump arc, jump medium kick, kind of hard to anti-air for a lot of people. You know, trying to whiff punish, that sort of stuff. And for Infectious, his game is so walk based. It's so walk back and forth based, and that's true for both his young and his old Zeku. And I feel that he does that better than anybody else. He knows where to put himself so precisely. We saw him whiff punish, dash punch a couple of times with Crouching Fierce, with Stand Roundhouse. He was ready for those moments, and he knew that he was just outside of those ranges by walking back and forth at ranges where I think many people feel uncomfortable against Boxer. Right? Against Boxer, you are worried about dash punch. You're worried about EX dash punch. You're worried about EX low. You're worried about Stand Fierce maybe. You know, he's got a great anti-air. And so there's a range there where people feel uncomfortable, and it did not seem like Infectious was uncomfortable. Did not seem that way. He made a lot of great defensive choices. He was on the ball for a ton of his defensive calls. EXDP and jumping out, 3-frame button, which he challenged with against EX dash punch, which is +1 a couple of times. So he challenged correctly in a lot of great times, and jumped out of command grabs those times that it came up. Like he was really ready for a lot of that stuff defensively. He was able to get a read. I mean, it seems to me like he had a read coming in against Mopilapo. So very impressive stuff even to start out with. Later on,
Yeah.
it was Infectious versus Gunslinger. This was, as we head into it, the Campanile on a nice, beautiful, common, foggy Bay Area day. Definitely should have changed that. And this is Winners Finals. Gunslinger had gotten here. Many of us thought that it would be a Zeku mirror, but that is not how it actually played out.
Yeah.
So
It's very interesting, right? Because Ken is not a character that you see very often in CPT top 8s. I don't know that anybody thinks Ken's bad. I don't think anybody thinks Ken's bad. But if you're going to play Ken, a lot of people think that, well, you might as well just be playing Akuma. Or you might as well be playing maybe Kage? But Ken's his own guy, in my view, and I think Ken is pretty good. I would not tell you that I think Ken is one of the best characters in the game, or maybe even the better characters in the game, but I think he's a solid and viable mid-tier in many, many matchups. He's just a hard one to play. I feel that Ken is a harder character to play than most, because he has such a reliance on hit confirming. Reactions, I feel, are so important with Ken. And if you're going to play that style, super reactive style, why don't you play like Karen for hit confirm? I mean, you know, there's just other things that you could be doing maybe to maximize yourself. But Ken is still viable and doable. So I was very interested to see this. I haven't seen Infectious play Ken in a while. I'd seen him play Ken, I would say a couple years ago. But yeah, I'm not in the UK and I'm not watching all the stuff that comes out of there. And I'm certainly not playing against him online like I think some of these folks are. That was very cool. And it's a great lens as well into seeing that Infectious is just a strong player and not... Sometimes a player can be the product of their character and their own skill. And I don't mean that characters are carrying people per se, but pretty often people will just have, like, they just really gel well with a character, even if it's not the best in the game. They'll just fit really well, feel really comfortable. They love it, so they put a lot of time into it, and they really just become identified with one character. And it's cool to see that Infectious has kept a couple around, because you get to see what are the commonalities between his different characters. And I think it shows there's a lot of strength in there. Kenpie, yeah, is amazing. Kenpie, I will tell you, I'll be honest with you guys. I don't think that Ken is fun to watch typically. But I love watching Kenpie, because Kenpie takes the footsie game that Ken has and just dials it up to 1,000. His footsie game, his distance game, his hit confirming game with Ken is just so strong. And that's fun to watch. And that's part of why I liked watching Infectious Ken as well. Same kind of reason.
The archetype that Gunslinger is, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I didn't talk about Gunslinger at all. Gunslinger's been around for quite a while.
He is in the game,
Cool to
guys.
see him up here. You know, again, I'm not paying attention super closely to the UK scene, but yeah, I thought it was great to see him up in Winners Finals.
He would go for, but gets the conversion, trying to get the third, not happening, get Infectious, keeping it up, but the crush counter is on Gunslinger's favor.
One nice thing for Ken is that he snowballs really well. Most of his stuff kind of naturally goes into pressure. You know, you get a knockdown, you're there.
And you could see right there he was ready for those V skills. And I feel that is
Wake up medium kick we saw all the time. That's right. I meant to go back and check up if there's something interesting about that. Like, what's unique about that? Why is he doing that so often?
Infectious looking good, looking for one crush counter, but a great challenge that unfortunately could not connect.
So, oh really? He did go in? I was about to say, is this defensive Infectious coming in now?
Looking for one more conversion.
Okay, so great V skill. Both of these characters. Oh no! I wonder if he got rolled back on. Both of these characters have really fast V skills. In general, the characters that don't have knockdown V skills are faster, and these are two of them. But yeah, interesting to see how Infectious played there. So it wasn't, I would say, as much about whiff punishing and footsies. So I'm curious why this was his choice. He certainly guessed right a lot in terms of when to jump in, when to move in.
Yeah,
he whiff punish. He did whiff punish, right? We did see the medium. We did see that sort of stuff. It's not like it was 0 times.
That first round, looking to get the momentum against his bro.
Yep, absolutely. I mean, I feel like at that point in the round, you know,
like you got to hit confirm all this stuff as Ken. You have to be looking constantly. Did my crouching medium kick hit? Did my stand medium kick hit?
Movement by Infectious has been quite active, trying
super
to
important.
bait Gunslinger into doing something. Look at this. Oh, that's
oh no, not cancelled and not punished. Wow.
You know, young Zeku can't really anti-air, to be honest. Like if you jump,
super
jump
ready, and that's the corner just like that.
Like young Zeku's gonna have a hard
from
time
pretty
doing
far.
that. So that's why you see him only using hard punch on jump-ins.
Oh no.
Nice punish right there with the back medium kick target combo.
Ready. I mean, like I said, it feels so rare that Infectious misses a punish.
Again by Gunslinger. He's definitely not looking good on
Putting
these
it
and Infectious.
Very interesting character choice. You did see certainly sometimes there were hit confirms. Stand medium kick on block. Okay, not canceled. Right, not into the chain. Crouching medium kick, same kind of thing. On hit, he got into that stuff pretty consistently. He's definitely ready for footsies. At the same time, how he dealt a lot of damage was jumping in. He tried V-skilling in. He tried dashing in.
To get the conversion to get
very interesting that he went with Ken in this matchup.
Game number one. I feel like the little
I wonder if he just doesn't want to play mirrors. I just don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's just. I feel like Gunslinger
Certainly duo. Yeah, when we see him jumping in, it's mostly against young Zeku, especially in that second round because it was mostly young Zeku. But we did see Infectious try to jump in a couple of times and get anti-aired, in fact, by old Zeku.
At the end, he was just clutching his straws. Just all right, let's see.
Game number 2.
Yeah, I don't know if going to the Young is the right call for Gunslinger here because Young does not have great anti-air. We'll talk about Infectious' anti-air with young Zeku maybe later, but
for sure.
Yeah, certainly it's not the strength of the character, whereas old Zeku does have good anti-air. Invincible anti-air, you might say.
You're wrestling on the jump. Dash up back throw. Yep, and force that Zeku back
yeah,
throw.
jump early fierce is a really, really strong hitbox to put out. Oh, he tried it.
He does. He does. Gets the tanning first conversion on this, but the meteor was not correct. Wakes up with buttons. That's gonna work in Infectious' favor.
What's it gonna be?
Again, the right defensive call, just jumping out.
Solid life lead here.
I love this walk up. I think that's part of why I like watching Kenpie. I like watching Infectious Ken. Oh no, he missed the confirm. Wow.
Nice cross cut, man. Very good. Look at this. Gunslinger pulling it back. Reversal on the sweep.
Listen, this is the
Yeah, I don't know if that was the right call to do this V reversal here for Gunslinger.
Just like a nice cross
So
cut, man.
Gunslinger
Very good.
is it here, I think.
Look at this.
Yeah, probably not the right call. You know, that could have been. I mean, you know, I guess it could have been V skill canceled by Ken, but doing this means that Infectious, when Infectious then did this V skill run, I feel like this is just, he was just going to do super. If that had been on block, right, there wouldn't have been a full V bar down there. That only got built that much because it was a hit. So on hit, all right, he ends up killing anyway, but I feel like this would have been a chip kill situation for Infectious.
Listen, this is the. Oh my god, that was a man who was ready. He saw the first few frames of that V skill. He was like, nope, I'm using mine. That was an amazing answer.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right, Darnell, that Gunslinger is not taking advantage of all the stuff that Infectious is doing. Infectious has done the medium chain a couple of times and has not gotten a punish underneath the second hit. And Infectious did do back strong fierce one time and didn't cancel it into EX Fireball for safety. And Gunslinger didn't do anything about that either. So Gunslinger is not playing perfectly. He seems good. He seems like a good player. But hasn't been 100% on that stuff.
Infectious, he's showing you guys how to answer that V skill. I'm really liking what he's doing on the show on this and in craft cut.
Yeah, I feel like Young is the worst option, right? Because Old is shutting down these jumps from Infectious. If you're pressuring, I mean, sure, go in as Young.
This is big. One touch for the stun here.
He got it right again. Okay, this time he got it underneath. Okay. And, you know, maybe not surprisingly, that same round where he did get the punish on the second hit there, he did take the round.
Kind of round he's looking for as well, just a round where he can overwhelm his opponent and just not give him any chance to be in control. That's what Infectious excels at usually. But Gunslinger are able to.
Ooh, okay.
Great opening by Infectious.
Let it rip. Haven't seen the roundhouse much.
Infectious is looking good, man.
No anti-air this time. I bet Infectious likes to see that. Oh yeah, for sure. I was just gonna say, after having seen no anti-air, I would expect another jump in soon. Oh no.
That's gonna be big boy damage. Not gonna be able to get the stun yet.
It's wake up meeting pick again.
Infectious.
Huh.
Looking to close this one out.
So now a big life lead as Infectious. Does he just hang? Yeah, I think he just hangs out probably.
Fundamentals.
Yeah. Good work. Good work.
Too solid right here. Crouch medium kick. We'll take that.
I will say though, you know, the conceit that I was talking about earlier that I wanted to discuss on this stream was, could anybody beat Infectious? Because as I watched this top 8 live, that's what I thought to myself. I was like, who would beat this guy? Is he like a likely candidate to win Capcom Cup this year? Because I just, watching how he played live, I felt like I don't know who could beat him. But now as I'm watching it, maybe it was closer than I felt at the moment, because Gunslinger has missed some punishes here and there, and Mopilapo took a game, you know, and some of those runs were very close. Some of those games are very close. Winning rounds in between, right, as Gunslinger did in this, even though he ends up losing the game, he won a round. So maybe that was just an impression I had in the moment, and maybe there are some, I don't know what to say. I mean, clearly he's one of the best in the world, but maybe some things that he could do even better. Anyway, I still think he's one of the best players in the world. He's super good.
Medium kick with that old Zeku. He managed to
find the openings that he wants. Like, he's been looking so solid in his earlier matches. But
nice.
Here we go. Don't forget, Gunslinger did use the main Ken as well, so he definitely knows a thing or two about this character. But the way Infectious is playing him, it's just so like...
Oh, I like that walk under a lot. That makes a lot of sense.
He just knows, man. He's won with the game. Back
huh.
There. Wow.
Wow. Funky challenges on both sides.
Can you even jump this guy?
Oh wow, what a walk. And then you missed it and then not punished either. Yeah, there's definitely some stuff that I think both players could be maximizing a little bit. That is not my memory of how this went, but there it is.
Oh, Infectious just with an EXDP, let it rip. Back throw here, you're in the corner now.
Oh, this is plus, okay.
This is big, plus
yep,
brain.
That's his turn still.
Okay.
Really? Instant grab. I think maybe Infectious was going for a delayed frame trap there. It could have been lag. Who knows? I mean, they're both in the UK, so it doesn't seem super likely, but it's CFN, so who even knows? Who even knows? In this round, there was a nice punish on V-skill run. I think on step kick we saw
find the
early
openings
on. I think there was a
once.
punish.
Like, he's been looking
Yeah,
so
yeah,
solid
good
in
work,
these
right?
early
There it
matches.
is.
Here we go. Don't forget,
So
Gunslinger
Gunslinger, I agree with y'all in the chat that he has missed some stuff, that he hasn't gotten all the punishes that he could have had, but that was a good moment at least.
I don't know what happened there. What did Infectious try? He just...
I'm not even sure what interaction exactly happened,
Yeah.
but that's gonna be a round for Gunslinger. Of course, he needs to stop the Infectious train right now.
Yeah, nice. Last second cross.
Oh god, he just
very last
is
moment.
accurate defensively. I mean, what else do you... Oh,
He's
he
trying
whiffed.
not to
Wow,
be too
bummer.
far for the second hit to connect, and again, these DPs have been immaculate on Gunslinger's side.
Yep, they really have. He's
Oh,
super
no.
good to just anti-AU you from any angle, which is very impressive. Anytime. That's a punish right there.
Okay, so Infectious
Yes,
is
the
not
line
letting the
break
punishes
target.
go at least.
But we're throwing the corner right now. Infectious looking to close this out. But
Oh no, big bummer.
no, that's not enough though.
Could he use that maximum damage, do you think, in that
He killed
situation?
the
I don't know.
activation.
Yeah,
Okay,
he-
well, a little walk back, crouch medium kick worked. What was the
Close this out.
choice here?
But
I feel like Ken can pump out more, but I just am not a Ken player. Is this the best he could have done? I don't think so.
that's not
Is
enough
that?
though.
Wouldn't he kill with a VT activation?
Yep, they really have. He's super good to just anti-AU you from any angle, which is very impressive. Anytime. That's a punish right there. Gets the line breaker target.
V-trigger
We're throwing the
activation
corner right now.
causes
Infectious
damage proration, right?
closes
Scaling.
out.
But maybe overall you could end up with more. I just, like I said, I'm no Ken expert, so I don't know.
Wouldn't he kill with a VT activation?
Yeah, he
Anyway,
gets the
all right.
on a V-trigger activation, but
I think so.
Yeah, you think that was the best he could have done? Okay. Yeah, I feel like I've seen stronger juggles than that, but
As well, yeah, but that's okay.
you know,
He
yeah, I
had
don't know
regardless,
all the situations as
saving
Ken.
V-trigger for offline, and he's just gonna get one match point. Infectious looking good, one round away from sitting
I really
on
like that walk back
finals
stand
winner
jab,
side.
something he's done quite a bit. Okay, finally Gunslinger gets more underneath the second hit of the target chain.
Infectious in the corner,
Wow.
jump with the deep. He just says, "Get off me!" And again, firing back. Look at these conversions, man. Okay.
Ah.
Wow, these guys are going all in.
Oh my god, it's getting a little sloppy
Every
here.
time. Oh my.
Yeah, this
goodness.
is really not my memory of how this went.
Ow.
And even though this ends up being a 3-0, yeah, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense in that situation. Right, yeah,
Again,
just try to build up the
offensive
gray.
Infectious.
Oh
That's gonna
no!
What a jump to make this one with, and Infectious is gonna get an abs.
Huh. Look, it's a 3-0. And Infectious won 3-1 in his winner's semis, and now he's in grand finals on winner's side. I do think Infectious is one of the best players in the world. That said, you know, on second watch through here, I don't think that I come away, at least so far, with the feeling of invincibility that I felt in the moment. I don't, because I see things that I think are, well, that could be overcome by the opponents. When Infectious whiffs the medium kick target chain, because he's done that, I don't know, half a dozen times throughout that set. Those could have been bigger moments. Second hit's duckable, right? And when Infectious did step kick, he did get punished once, but didn't a couple of other times. He did back strong fierce, didn't get punished. I think he stole a couple of turns on Oki. You know, he dashed in, or maybe V-Skill ran in situations where I don't think he was plus. I think it was just him stealing a turn. Yeah, I think maybe on second watch through, there are things that, in fact, that maybe Gunslinger could have done better. It's just, look, again, Infectious, great defense. He still had that excellent walking around. The walking around stand jab, you know, on block, I think is really impressive. Medium kick, that kind of stuff. I really like him playing with his movement like that. His footsies, from a movement perspective, his footsies, I think, are some of the strongest. Extremely strong on that front. And yet, I do think there's stuff that maybe he could have even done better. So, I don't know. You know, I'm watching this now, and I'm like, I don't know if he's the player who nobody can beat. I'm not sure what to say now. Huh. Interesting.
Infectious one.
Interesting. Well, he played one more set in the top 8, and that's what we're going to take a look at now. Ah, this nice stone tower of the University of California at Berkeley, my alma mater. Beautiful, beautiful up there. This is actually CPT Online Europe West, number 2, top 8.
That was a 3.
And this is the grand finals of it. This is now
Absolutely ridiculous.
Infectious
The
versus
only
Mr.
time
Crimson, who
won
had battled back
Spain
in
was
loser's
actually
side.
in grand finals of the CPT Online Europe
Taking some really fun
in
matches, by the way.
2017,
Oh,
where he
wow.
reset in grand finals against
And
against
so
Infectious, and
he
then
didn't even
lost
try
in the grand
the
finals of reset.
Dalsum
So at
versus
least you know that he has
Infectious. You know, Mr. Crimson has always played a secondary character. Dalsum and Laura, Dalsum and G, whatever it is. And I think that's a really smart call. I do think that Dalsum is pretty good this season. I'm not sure I think he's high tier, but personally I would say he's just like a strong mid-tier character, like many other characters are. And that's because in some matches I think he does great, and in some I think he gets blown up. So it's just a lot of swings. So to have a character like G to help you out in some of those matches, I think makes a lot of sense. And this is one matchup where I think that Dalsum is not the right pick. So I like that Crimson went with G here. Zeku versus Dalsum it's one of those volatile ones. Again, as I've been saying, and you all know, Zeku has such fantastic movement speed on the ground. Not just, command run, walk speed, dashes, has the ability to semi-zone against Dalsum, to sort of put up a wall against Dalsum, and those are always matchups that Dalsum players find strange. And has the ability to move through the air with the Demon Flip, and, has a ton of damage and snowballs super well when he gets up close. So, yeah, it's a matchup that's not easy. Zeku can whiff punish a limb from really far and do command run slide from really far. So, it's just not an easy one. I really like the switch, and I'm happy for Crimson that he has a secondary character in this way. So, it's going to be G versus Zeku.
set in these conditions before.
He
but
can
today
do
is
it.
looking a bit
Yeah, right. And V-Skill 2, as an anti-air versus Dalsum who's trying to do teleport mix-ups, is just going to eat it alive. So you can't do typical stuff that Dalsum players would like to do. Against Zeku V-Trigger 2, your pressure, your mix-ups just aren't going to work in the same kind of way. You got to be a lot safer about it, a lot more patient about it. And if you need to make a comeback as Dalsum and you don't feel like you can do teleport mix-ups, then it's just going to be a hard slog.
hard. It's looking a bit hard, but guys, it's time for grand finals. Chat, let me know. Press 1 for Mr. Crimson. Press 2 for Infectious.
So instantly into young Zeku. And look
how
how already Infectious is walking. I love this space that he's chosen, where he's very strongly walking in it. It's just, he's just inside and then outside occasionally of G's buttons. I don't know, has he pressed a button yet? Try to jump. Other than that, I think he's just been hanging out. Oh, we tried to get a punish. No. That just surprises me that he tried that. I wonder if he was just hoping to see that there was a that there was an offensive choice from Crimson.
Fans of both players on this chat, and Infectious is getting his own conversion. Look at the damage, man.
Yeah, definitely racking up that stun as
Oh
well.
yeah, a
Huge.
little delay on the strong.
Getting himself a great situation here after the combo.
Oh.
Let's see what he goes for. He goes for the Bushin flip.
Oh yeah.
My goodness. Okay, activation. Oh,
Gets good this time. Gikandes.
I think that might be the first big
this is big.
defensive failure
You're
from
gonna
Infectious.
guess for the game scenario here.
Okay, well,
Oh,
you only get so many, huh?
No. Infectious.
Because other than that, if you think back to when he was playing against Mopilapo, when he was playing against Gunslinger, although he didn't dominate each round, he lost some rounds. He lost a game versus Mopilapo. It didn't feel like he was making wrong defensive choices when there was like big stuff on the line, when there could have been, giant damage from the opponent. Maybe one round that happened against Gunslinger, but in general, Infectious has been on top of it. So anyway, he did get command grab once, but jumped out of the second. It feels that way, doesn't it? That he's just choosing correctly like all the time on defense.
Coming a mile away. Don't
That
forget,
was
Infectious has had the pleasure of just sitting back and watching your matches for the past hour or so. So.
Oh no.
Yeah, he's definitely
Oh really? Too far? Okay, interesting.
Oh, that whiff was unfortunately not there. Yeah, that's true. Like Mr. Crimson likes to tap into command grab. rather than-
Again, walking around in that range right there, that's a funky range. I wonder if he's trying to provoke a buffer by Mr. Crimson. This kind of in and out sort of thing, yeah, it finally came, but if Infectious had been blocking... Are you serious? We'll get back to that later. Oh my god, look at this, the walk under into full damage.
Getting the combo.
Into full mix-up,
That's actually a
too.
really good option because G doesn't have a cross-up button from a neutral jump. He has to be doing
Nice.
the angled jump from splash, right? So that's actually a really good option for Infectious.
Oh no.
Alright, so I get the corner back, of course. With this into the EXTP for a bit more damage on this, and that's gonna be activation.
Yeah, that's just a true block string right there.
To surprise his opponent, the standing roundhouse to get him out. This
is such a risky part of the game. This phase against G when he has trigger, when he has an EX bar, is just so scary. And so you see Infectious is making a really, really great defensive choice, which is to crouch block a lot. Yeah, but during this period of time here, this is like textbook playing against G, because you want to accomplish a couple things. So this phase is over, so slight chance for pressure, it doesn't work out. Okay, so as soon as that happens, as soon as that throw tech happens, Infectious goes into this real turtle mode, and this is a really, really nice thing. You want to do two things, like I was saying. You want to block. You don't want to get hit by dash low. Because if you do, you know, easy confirm into 1,000 damage, into full corner carry. And at the amount of life that Infectious has, to get hit now into full V-trigger corner carry, then to have to wake up into that is just a binary choice between command grab and you lose, or any hit and you lose. It's not easy as a situation, so super important to avoid it. He no longer has V-reversal. A lot of people will save V-reversal when playing against G, just to escape these situations. You know, try their best to anyway. But if you get hit, obviously, you know, hey, it all starts out. So how do you both block and also at the same time, you don't want to let G just come up at you. You have to be moving backwards, right? And that means that you have to either jump or you have to walk backwards. And so Crimson is trying to approach. You'll see Infectious just pipe in these little crouches here and there. Low, 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 right? Low. Oh, he's only giving just the barest couple of frames. So you see that Crimson tries the low, hoping to catch one of those little moments, but really Infectious is only giving a few frames at a time where there could be an attack against him, and so he's accomplishing both of those goals. He's both accomplishing the goal of trying to get away, trying to stay away, and also not open himself up to a low. Very, very nice. Very, very nicely done.
Best at just checking dashes.
That defensive phase is one of the most important things to understand when playing against G, and it's never easy. Never easy. And I don't think that's an easy phase for anybody, right? His V-trigger is the best in the game, IMO. But to know how to play against it well is to do a lot of the work in advance and have a game plan and go to it. Now think back to these moments here when Infectious was taking steps backwards. If Crimson had just happened to have done the low, right, during one of those moments, okay, right? But you need to take that slight risk because you got to get away. Like you have to do both. And Infectious did a great job of that.
Button, and you're just not gonna get in, and that's exactly what he was doing. You are not coming in a command grab range.
Definitely, he's always ready for those, man. He's been looking super good.
Yeah, as Damascus said, Infectious did not want to allow G to walk in for a command grab. The threat of that low into so much damage in corner carry and Oki means that G players will often just walk in. Infectious didn't let that happen, so shoutouts to him. Really, really well done.
Close this one, and now it's time for game number 2. Infectious gets the first.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, and that V-skill 2 really does help out Zeku a lot in matchups such as G, you know, where the neutral can be a bit awkward. You got to walk through the buffers, through the
great anti-air from G, that's for sure.
And that V-skill 2,
okay, a little bit. Stand short. Oh,
that's big damage right there on the hard kick. We go.
This is more of the wall style. Before I would say we saw more of a movement heavy style from Infectious, but this right here is a wall. So if you could provoke Infectious, if you can provoke Crimson to give up V-meter, that'd be ideal. It didn't happen. But I really like the EX. We'll go back and check that out. Okay, Crimson. One more mix-up, and either side is going to do it. Whether it's a command grab or whether it's a hit. Or whether it's regular grab, I guess. Oh my god. And none of that stuff ends up mattering. Infectious makes the right choice, of course. Of course, of course, of course. Just like he has almost the entire time. Alright, so knockdown, right? So in the corner. So I like this EX a lot. I think this makes a ton of sense for Zeku. This is +1, I think. Yes, +1. I like this a lot because this gives him a chance at a mix-up, and it would be great for Infectious if he could just end it here. Any mix-up here, whether this is going to be a hit or a grab, doesn't matter, is going to kill. And so he puts Crimson into a bad spot. What some people will do in this situation, as the defender, is they'll V-reversal out. And that would be just as valuable to Infectious, almost, as if he just outright got the kill, right? Obviously, he'd rather kill, but there's not too much hyperbole there, because if you could get it so that Crimson gives up V-meter, he doesn't have V-trigger in this round, you feel so much more confident about just taking the round, right? Crimson plays this really well defensively, right? He makes the right choice. Just is it a throw or not? I mean, that's it. And he was correct about that. That allows Crimson to then get into the corner, try the mix-up out, all that sort of stuff. But that EX, I thought right there, was a very, very strong offensive choice to either, provoke the V-reversal, or to have a yes or no mix-up for the end of the game, or at the end of the round. By the way, this is what Crimson was trying to get before, as Infectious was backing off, right? The crouch block, walk, walk. This is what Crimson wanted to get, is the walk-up command grab, because you're so concerned about activation. Alright.
I felt this TP, man.
I saw that. I saw that bar build up.
Very quickly into young Zeku. Now, he tried out the command run empty. I think that may be the first time we've seen him do that. Wow, okay. Wrong defensively again. Amazing. Oh, but not twice in a row. I don't think it's ever been twice in a row. Right? I mean, he hasn't been 100% at this point at defensive choices, but he's never gotten 2 in a row wrong, as I can recall.
The challenge here from Mr. Crimson. Great position to do so. Okay. It's gonna be here.
I think looking for the one more and gets the throw. No button pressed on Mr. Crimson, but
now activation, yes.
It's time to activate, and that command grab is a bit too much. Could not get a bit more from this one. Infectious now looking, and Mr. Crimson is
there's really Infectious trying to again walk back block. Does not want to take a risk of getting hit low. At the same time, he still needs to play with his spacing. You can't be obvious about where you are. You can't just hold down back.
Okay, there we go. The late.
So the threat is over, and now Infectious gets to play a little differently. Yeah.
What's it gonna be? Next hit does it.
I can't believe it. I remember that live. That Crouching Fierce actually didn't work. Crouching Fierce, one of the best anti-airs in the game. Didn't work.
Damage on the clock. What's it gonna be?
What was different about this range? He just happened to be slightly farther forward. It really is hard to anti-air this. I feel like most characters jump medium kicks here, just get hit out of the sky. But this was young Zeku, jump medium kick, with a weird jump arc, with a great hitbox on it. And Infectious trying it again twice in a row, and maybe if Crimson had been here a frame earlier, maybe he would have anti-aired. Maybe he's just a frame too late. Maybe Infectious' jump timing caught him slightly off guard. Maybe the spacing is slightly different than before. Whatever it is very slight to make this happen. Yikes. It really could have been literally one frame.
Oh no! Test to that V gauge. Okay, there we go. The late jump off the wall there. Back throw, 160 damage on the clock.
Yeah, okay, so he jumped from definitely further out, you could tell.
What's it gonna be?
This one he jumped in a little, just very slightly, but a little bit closer. Hey, jump medium kick from Zeku, you all know it's good.
That is so unfortunate. Mr. Crimson was not at the right range for this one to work, and Infectious is already up to. This is an absolutely
so even still, I don't know that Infectious has ever gotten 2 big defensive choices wrong in a row. If he has, it's only been once throughout this whole top 8. Very rarely. That's really hard to replicate. It requires a great read on everybody involved. It requires that he knows each of the players he's played so far really well. Alternatively, you just get lucky, which is very possible. But I think it's more likely in this kind of situation of players who have all played against each other many times that he just has the right read on them. That's kind of hard to replicate. You go to a different region, especially after a year. Whenever Capcom Cup happens, it's going to be in 2021, right? They've already announced that. Whenever that happens, and wherever it happens, It will have been a long time since any of these players from international parts have played against each other for any region. You know, each individual region is playing online mostly against itself. The UK scene's still playing online. The US scene's still playing online, right? But nobody in the US has played against anybody from anywhere else since March, certainly, if not before that. And same for each of these regions. So is it practical? Could you really expect that Infectious would go to Capcom Cup and then have all these same defensive success ratios? I don't know. Hard to do. Certainly hard to do. I wouldn't put it past him. He's really, really strong.
Like, me first, right? All of us, a lot of us are like shook against G, right? He's a scary character.
Yeah.
When there's V-Trigger, we're like, oh my god, I'm gonna have to guess and stuff. And I feel like Infectious has been so good in not.
But I do
putting
also
situations
think,
where
as
he
I
has
mentioned
to
before,
guess.
that as I
That's
rewatch
really
this
the
now
thing
for the
that
second
really
time,
puts Mr. Crimson in
I'm
trouble.
seeing things that, while still mostly very strong, at the same time, there are also situations where Infectious maybe gets away with something, where maybe the opponent could have punished better, or at all, or where maybe a mix-up that Infectious tried was a little bit too much, or maybe he, you know, stuck medium roundhouse out there as Ken instead of just single hit confirming.
Amazing button, by the way.
Maybe there's a little bit more in there. My initial idea of like, wow, can anybody even beat Infectious? Maybe, I don't know, maybe not quite right. He still seems like one of the best players in the world to me.
Mr. Crimson has bet it all on G here. He has to win 3 in a row right now with G.
Yep.
That's it,
That's
no
looking
doubt.
like a hard task, but you know, at some point you need to
Punish.
commit
Minus
to
4.
one. The punish is gonna be in there. Of course, there is no V-skill 1, so you can't get the corner back.
Now he's trying to jump all the time after his success. Oh, yep, he's trying it for sure.
Yeah,
For
that's
sure.
what he wanted the last game. Be reversal
Interesting.
there.
So
Okay, here we
I
go.
asked, well, I'll mention this, I guess, a bit
Too far
later.
for the follow-up. That's a
Oh,
shame.
wow.
Oh my goodness, how does he know the robot?
That's amazing.
He
And then he could have just
sense
done
it.
super
Oh
probably.
my goodness, Infectious.
But went for grab instead. Wow. So lots of good knowledge in there by Infectious on stuff to punish and how to do so.
Of course, there is no V-skill 1, so you
This
can't
as
get the
well,
corner back.
right? So he's trying jump, medium kick. It worked at the end of the last game. Why not again? He's trying to walk up, you can even see,
Crimson with
into
the
like
edge
this
here.
particular spot. And maybe it's just that, again, Crimson was 1 frame late last time. Very, very close to it. This time was ready.
Nice, this time it's
This EX
Yeah, that's what he
activate V skill. G can typically get a regular grab here. I was told that that does not work against Zeku. That Zeku's V reversal is one of the fast ones, right? Typically the ones that don't knock down are the fast ones, and his is. And that on top of that, he kind of like pulls himself backwards a little bit, his throw box backwards a little bit, so G actually can't get a regular grab here. That's what I was told. I haven't specifically tested this myself. But that is my understanding of the situation. Because usually when G's see, when they activate, right,
nice,
EX,
this time it works.
and you see this happen as the player, you can definitely react to this in real time. I'll play it in a sec. You'll see grab, but
Yeah, that's what you wanted.
With the end here. Nice, this
Okay.
time it works.
Yeah, that's what
right,
wanted
you
the
can
last
definitely
game.
see that
Reversal
during the
there.
activation, and so you'll
Okay,
just
here we
typically
go.
grab. But I guess that doesn't work
Oh, no,
versus
too
Zeku,
far
so
for the
good to
follow-up.
know.
That's a shame. Oh my goodness, how does he know the robot? He can sense it. Oh my goodness, Infectious walks up, gets the throw.
Match point.
It's
Damn.
all in
Tournament
the
point.
code. It's
It
all in
is.
the code, and it's too much points now for Infectious to deliver an absolutely clinical top 8. He only gave a game to Mopilapo in this entire top 8 so far. Can he get another 3-0?
Here's this little style that he was using early of walking in and out, and I really think he's just trying to proc a buffer. Trying to proc a whiff OS buffer to mix and match different scenes lingos. It's just that Mr. Crimson has found the hits instead of the blocking time. Oh, wow.
That's, of course, he was waiting for him to walk back. That's gonna be the pressure on. We're getting close.
Oh, that's tricky. Very tricky.
The EX change
Oh,
into the
wow.
extension and laser.
You know, you look back at this and you see that Infectious has big damage at the end. A great sequence starting about here. Yeah, using the little dude to set it up with the low, which became cancelable this
And
season.
that's, of course, he was waiting for him to walk back. That's gonna
And
be
then
the
one
pressure
mix
on.
up, two
We're
mix
getting
ups,
close
and
to
that's
the
going to be
start.
that.
That's
So,
gonna
you know,
be
you kind
the
of look back and you see, wow, this was a snowball at the end. But if you look earlier, this sequence again, I really like this back and forth because this is a great range for young Zeku to walk back and forth and to try to get the opponent to to buffer, right? As G in this situation, what ends up happening is crouching jab, I think, connects, yeah. And because Infectious was not blocking, this is a hit, and then, you know, full combo, corner, carry, Oki. But on block, this is punishable. So what Infectious wants to do is walk up using that excellent walk speed that Young Zeku has, and then block at the last split second and make this crouching jab come out, because this would have come out on hit or on block. Doesn't matter. This cancel will come out. So if you can, a classic way to deal with the opponent buffering in this way is to walk up and block their thing so that their punishable thing comes out and you get to punish. You can make them put themselves into a punishable state if you think about it in that way. And Infectious uses Young Zeku's walk speed to do that. Just, you know, hey, sometimes you get hit. Right? So that is what happened here. But I like that strategy a lot. And this is a great spot for Crimson. Well, not now, he's getting hit. But right before that this is exactly what you want as G. Here you are, you're pressuring in the corner. And G is at all times, at most, 3 anythings away from taking a round. Whether it's a command grab or whether it's a regular grab, or whether well, you can't do 3 regular grabs, but you could do a command grab and a hit and a regular grab. Bing, it's stun. You know, then you get to kill. But whatever mix of those is. So great situation. But Infectious just, I mean, you look at the frames here.
He is indeed, but there you go, a good buffer there from the jab into the EX.
And he was right. Absolutely right about the interaction. So.
Infectious smells blood. You know he wants to close.
You know, a major reason why Infectious even got this opportunity later, to set this up into the low, into the EX, into one grab, into one mix-up, is that he was, again, right defensively. He's just correct defensively so often. So often. And now, watching this on replay, I feel that that's maybe the biggest takeaway for me about why Infectious ended up dominating this top 8. He only lost 1 game in all of the top 8. So he qualifies for Capcom Cup. You know, I feel that, that was a different guy. This is me up here in the press box. I feel that the big takeaway is that his defense was super on point. And I maybe don't feel as much like he's unbeatable otherwise. I think he's clearly one of the best in the world. And my intention is not to say like, oh, hey everybody, you could go out there and beat Infectious. No, not the intention. Instead, there were maybe some little moments in there that could have been capitalized on by some of his opponents, of punishing the medium target chain as Ken, of getting underneath the second hit and getting the punish, of punishing B-skill run as Ken, of, think about how many times Crimson got anti-air crouching fierce and didn't get the kill afterward. When G does crouching fierce, you're set right in front of him afterwards, and that is just a command grab or not situation, and Crimson had the corner pressure multiple times, and that's just a mix-up, right? And Crimson just didn't get it. So there were certainly opportunities there for the opponents to have taken more games at least, if not just to have beaten Infectious. But if, as Infectious was, you're just guessing right so often defensively. And that's what it comes down to, right? You can win regardless. So I loved watching the walk speed, the walk ranges and in and out of ranges that he uses. One of my favorite things about Infectious is that it's just his ground game. I think is super, super impressive. His great mix-ups, but yeah, I think really the thing that jumps out to me here is the defensive choices, and those are hard to be consistent with against anybody, but they're especially hard if you haven't played against somebody else in a long time. These guys all play against each other. They're all, Europe West online. They're playing. When it comes to Capcom Cup, will Infectious be able to have that same success rate defensively? I don't know. I'm not saying he can't. He's won and placed high in things in the past, right? You can say he's certainly one of the best. Is that something to expect, though? Hard to say, and that seems like such a big impact on how things turned out here that if he doesn't get it, then maybe hard to imagine that he's gonna have the same success. Anyway, I think he's on my short list of players to look for at Capcom Cup. for sure, for sure. Again, that's not happening for a while. That's not happening until 2021. But when that happens, look for him. Look for Infectious. And let's send it down to UltraDavid on the field. All right, David, thanks as always for the breakdown. Up there in the press box, it looks nice and cool up there. Down here where I am, it's already in the 90s this morning. It's a toasty one. 92 degrees where I am sitting on the field here in Memorial Stadium at the University of California, Berkeley. You're right that Infectious is somebody to watch for at Capcom Cup. You know what? You were also right as well. I was skeptical, but you were right. Watching Mr. Crimson's Dhalsim is really fun. That is definitely a fun character and player to watch. So thanks for doing that as well. Thanks to the production crew for putting on this program. I'd just like to thank everybody involved who spends all their time making sure that Monday Morning Quarterback goes well. I think it did this time, so hats off to everybody involved. We had a sound problem last time, if you recall, and that guy got canned right away. So it didn't happen this time. Good job to everybody. Thanks a lot, and we'll catch you next Monday for analysis of fighting game matches that took place over the previous weekend. Later. Oh no. Production!